I wrote 657 Medium articles in 791 days, and this is what I've learned. So I started writing on Medium.com around 2 years ago in January 2023. On top of this, I've been busting out tweets like they're going out of fashion. I've been reposting my articles on Quora and other blogging sites, as well as writing my own screenplays just for the fun of it. Which means for the last 2 years, I've basically been writing content like an absolute madman. Along the way, I didn't just grow a decent following and actually learn how to make money online. I also learned a few things, and that's what I'm going to share with you in this video. Let's begin. Lesson 1. So this is going to be pretty difficult for you to accept, at least it was for me. But the sooner you learn this, the faster you can start growing and developing as a writer on social media. And it's this. No one gives a fuck about you. I know, I'm sorry, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but it is the truth. And believe me, I know how you feel. When I figured this out, it felt like a gut punch. I didn't want to accept it. It's really hard finding out that no one on the internet gives a toss about you. They wouldn't care if you got run over by a car going at 700 miles per hour. They literally don't care. You have to understand, I spent my entire life being loved by everyone around me, in my family and close friends. To find out that the internet didn't reciprocate that love was pretty devastating. But the good news is, you get used to it. And after you write a few things, it actually becomes quite freeing. I mean, think about it. When you first start writing online, you have loads of fears that you have to deal with, specifically around how people will react to what you're doing. You're scared about what your friends and family might think once they find out that you're writing online. All of this stuff is going on in your head when in reality, it's just your mind worrying about things that aren't even real. Because the truth is, no one cares. And this is neither a good thing or a bad thing. It's whatever you decide to make of it. If you want to start writing online, I highly recommend you start looking at it as a good thing. Because when you come at it from that perspective, you'll be able to write whatever you want without ever having to worry about what people will think of you. Why? Because they're not thinking about you and they don't care about what you write. Let me illustrate this point. Do you have any idea how many views I got in my first month of writing on Medium? 65. 65 views for the entire first month. Do you know how many I got in my second month? 184 total. Writing every single day. It wasn't until July 2023 when I had my first big month views-wise, where I had over 23,000 views or something. Even then, when I was getting 23,000 views in a month, it's not like people were leaving hate comments. It's not like my family thought I was weird when they found out I was writing online. They literally didn't care. They didn't care. Accept this fact and just move on as fast as possible. It will serve you in the long run. Now, I'm about to get into one of the most valuable lessons I've learned on my journey. This lesson is so counterintuitive and so powerful, it completely caught me off guard. But before I get to that, let's talk about the second lesson I learned. To explain this, I'm going to have to use an analogy. So imagine you're a farmer back in the day and you want to plant some bamboo. Don't ask why, just go along with it. You do everything to make sure your bamboo blooms, or whatever. You dig a nice hole, you plant the right seeds, you water it, you do all the typical gardening stuff. But there's a problem. You've been watering the same plant every day for an entire year and nothing has happened. But you don't let this stop you, you keep going. But in year 2, still nothing has happened. Year 3, you're beginning to think you probably got scammed, but you continue watering it anyway. Year 4, still nothing has happened, but you keep watering it just because it's become part of your daily routine. You don't actually think anything's going to happen. Now, most people would think you're crazy for doing this. It looks absolutely mental. You've been doing something for 4 years straight and not seeing a single result. Why keep going? But you see, in year 5, something magical happens. The bamboo you've been watering religiously for 1,825 days has exploded out of the ground, growing 90 feet in just 6 weeks. All that hard work finally paid off. And this, my friend, is how writing online works as well. When I first started writing online, I wrote a post that I didn't even think twice about. It was called "Stop Wasting Your Life." And it was a pretty typical self-improvement article. I wrote it within the first month of starting on Medium. And in the first month I posted it, I got a whopping 3 views. 3 views across the whole month. The month after that, I got 0 views. The month after that, also 0 views. The month after that, I got 1 view. And then in month 5, I got 14. But then, out of the blue, in month 6, the Medium algorithm just decided it was time, and the article got 8.9 thousand views. In the following 2 months after this article exploded, I got 7.4k views in consecutive months, meaning over the space of 3 months, an article that only had 21 total views 5 months after writing it, got 21,700 views in a 3-month period, months after I'd originally written it. Why? I have no idea why this happened. I have no idea why. I can't lie and say I know exactly the reason why this happened. There is no rhyme or reason for why this happened. All I know is a single article I wrote 6 months earlier was responsible for me going from around 150 followers to blowing past 1,500 followers in just a few weeks. This is what you need to keep in mind when you write online. You really never know what story will pop off in any given algorithm. You won't know when. You also won't know why. All you have to do is write stuff and just see what happens. If you write enough things that resonate, this kind of thing will happen to you more often than you think. Now, for this next lesson, we're going to settle the age-old debate of quality versus quantity. Which one's better? Which one should you prioritize if you're going to start writing online? Well, in my experience, quality matters a lot more. However, there is a catch. You see, the only way you can get to a place of creating consistent quality is by busting out a lot of quantity. To explain this, let's look at how Ed Sheeran writes his songs. Now, if you're a fan of Ed Sheeran, you might think he's this ginger genius that can do no wrong. But the truth is, the songs he writes don't come out perfectly the first time he sits down to write them. He himself compared the way he writes songs to turning a tap. The first time he turns it, a bunch of dirty, shitty water comes spewing out of it. But the longer the water runs and the more he keeps turning the tap, the clearer the water gets. This is the same with writing online. In order for you to start creating absolute bangers, you need to first write a lot of rubbish articles. This was the reason why I decided to start writing and posting every day when I first started. It wasn't because I thought I'd get these amazing results and make a lot of money. I genuinely just thought it would be the best way to improve as a writer because I'd be doing it every day. And guess what? It worked. My writing now is objectively a lot better than when I first started. However, I couldn't have reached this point I'm at now without writing a lot of bad stuff. Now, as promised, this is the big boy. This is the lesson I learned that completely changed the way I view the world, not just writing. And I'm not going to tease you any longer, okay? This is it. Writing is power. If that sounds confusing, just wait, let me explain. You see, before committing to becoming a writer, I was completely oblivious to how the world actually worked. After becoming a writer, I could see the inner workings of the world. And it's run by words, not technology, not politicians, not shady corporations, not lizards. Everything is run through words, which are the weapons of language. Whether the words are spoken or written is completely irrelevant. Language is the thing that dominates. And since writing is a vehicle for language to express itself, it turns out it's pretty powerful. So, answer this question for me. When you go about your life, how conscious are you of all the writing that surrounds you? You've become so used to it that you're probably not even aware of how much Words are just trying to influence you, trying to move you to do certain things. Every signpost, every billboard, every post on your phone, every video on YouTube, every ad on Facebook, every song you've ever listened to, every movie you've ever watched. The entire fabric of modern society is peppered by the machine gun of writing. Honestly, once you realize this, it's like you're offered the red pill or the blue pill from the Matrix. If you take the blue pill, you're still just oblivious. You're ignorant. You're not aware of all the words that are trying to change you and influence you. Whereas taking the red pill is like you're able to see the world as it really is for the first time. I know that analogy has been so done to death and so overused, but it's such a great way of explaining how much of a paradigm shift this was for me. Now, whenever I see something in my day-to-day life, I'm actively analyzing it from the perspective of a writer. If I watch a movie, I'm picking up on nuances that most people wouldn't notice. If I'm seeing an ad, I'm dissecting it and trying to work out why it works. If I'm consuming a piece of content, I'm actively studying how the creator is able to capture my attention and keep me hooked. This all happened for me once I realized just how dominant the art form of writing is in the world. And it's not just me, like, I'm not special, okay? A lot of other writers attest to this as well. It was just such an impactful realization I had, and it's something that I can't unsee. And it's something you won't be able to unsee either once you become aware of it. If you want to master the art of magnetic writing and wield the power of language for yourself, click the first link in the description and sign up for my completely free magnetic writing guide. Also, be sure to watch this next video where I talk about one of the fastest and easiest ways to improve your writing. I'll see you there. Bye.